Hi, I'm Vance, and welcome to Repair and Replace. The door lock motor is a key part of your oven's self-cleaning system. If the motor or the switch is faulty, then it will prevent the oven from self-cleaning. In this episode, first we'll learn how it all works, and then we'll test and replace rear-mounted as well as front-mounted motor assemblies. Let's get started. When an oven self-cleans, it heats up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which burns off the food and grease residue inside the oven. For protection, the oven door will lock during every self-cleaning cycle. First, the door position switch needs to be pressed to verify that the door is closed. Next, the motor energizes, turning the lock. This presses the door lock switch, which signals to the control board that it's safe to self-clean. Now, if the door position switch, the motor, or the door lock switch fails, it will prevent the oven from self-cleaning. Most ovens will have a rear-mounted motor that uses a small rod to pull the latch closed. These can be tested and replaced from the back of the oven. Some models will use a front-mounted motor and latch assembly. These can be accessed by lifting up the cooktop. To begin, you might need a screwdriver, a nut driver, gloves, and a multimeter. To know what kind of door lock motor you'll need, you can enter your model number on the AMRE Supply website. This will bring up a parts breakdown with the exact replacement parts listed on the side. Always be safe and disconnect the power at the breaker. Since there might be some sharp edges, it's best to wear cut-resistant gloves. Gently pull the range slightly away from the wall. As soon as there's enough room, go in behind and unplug it from the receptacle. Make sure that there isn't too much tension on the cord. Now, slide the range all the way out so you have plenty of room to work. On the back of the oven is a cover panel. Some models have a small panel near the top and a larger panel near the bottom. Now remove the screws. The panel will likely be sitting on several hooks. Simply lift up to remove the panel. If you have a rear-mounted motor, it will be located above the broil element terminals. To remember where each wire goes, it's best to take a picture for reference. Now, disconnect the wires. It can be easiest to test the motor when it's isolated from the oven. Remove the mounting screws. Next, unhook the silver rod from the motor cam. Now, remove the assembly. Using a multimeter, we can test the motor and the switches for continuity. A continuity test will determine if there's a continuous path for electricity to flow through. On the switch, you'll likely see a few terminals labeled COM for common, NO as normally open, and NC for normally closed. A normally closed terminal will form a complete circuit at rest. It will stay energized until the switch is pressed and the circuit is opened. A normally open terminal is not energized at rest. It will only complete the circuit when the switch is pressed closed. Set the multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Test from the common to the normally open terminal. There should be no continuity and no reading on the multimeter. When you press the switch closed, there should be continuity with a reading between 0 and 1 ohm. If the switch has 3 terminals, then also test between the common and the normally closed terminal. There should be continuity. When you press the switch, the NC contacts will open and you'll lose continuity. Repeat these tests for each microswitch. If any of these tests fail, then you'll have to replace the assembly. The motor windings can also be tested for continuity. Test between each terminal on the motor. If there is no continuity, then the motor is faulty and the assembly will need to be replaced. To install the new motor assembly, first hook the rod into the motor cam. Next, replace the mounting screws. Now, reconnect the wires. To access a front-mounted motor, you'll have to lift up the cooktop. For conventional stoves, the top will lift up similar to the hood of a car. The support rods will hold the top in place. Now unscrew and remove the plate that sits on top of the insulation. If you have a radiant or glass stovetop, then you'll have to open the oven door and remove the mounting screws. Now lift up and use a piece of wood or a sturdy object to prop it open. Take a reference picture and disconnect the wires. Now unscrew and remove the assembly. A front-mounted motor can be tested in the same way as a rear-mounted motor. Following the steps from before, test the motor and the switches for continuity. If either fails the continuity test, then the assembly will have to be replaced. Align the new assembly and tighten the screws. Now reconnect the wires. Lower the stovetop and tighten any screws. Align the back panel and replace the screws. Now plug in the cord and push the range back into place. Next, reconnect the power. Now you can test your oven. If this still didn't solve your problem, then check out our troubleshooting videos linked in the description below. For more troubleshooting videos on water heaters, furnaces, and appliances, then subscribe to our channel. And if you need help, you can call or visit our neighboring location to talk with our knowledgeable staff. Thanks for watching.